Today I'm looking at the ESV Verse-by-Verse Reference Bible. I was interested in this Bible for a few reasons. The first reason, as I've said in a previous video, was I was looking for a new translation, something that was different from my NET that I had got last year and had been my main translation for the year. And I've used the ESV before. It's a fairly good standard translation, English standard if you will, and I quite like it as a translation. So ESV was a good choice there. Second reason was I was looking for a preaching Bible, something that I could use at the pulpit, something that would be a bit smaller than my NET Journal Bible, which is quite large, and would be useful for preaching from. And verse by verse can be very good for preaching. And the third reason was because I saw it on a local auction site, and it's very rare in Poland to find English translations of the Bible on auction sites, and so I thought, well, I'll give it a go, and it was a bit of a bargain. So that's why I picked up this translation, this Bible in particular. Let's go through some of the features. Now, first of all, as you can see, this is a Trutone version. It's not a real leather. This is the kind of fake leather that Crossway do for their ESV Bibles. And it's a very pleasant texture. It's not actual leather, so bear that in mind, but it feels quite good in hand. The style, it's not my favorite style for a look of a Bible. It's not as good as like a just solid black leather in terms of look, but it's quite classy. The touch that I really do like about this Bible is the gold leaf. Looks very nice, and we've got the brown ribbon which matches. Unfortunately, it's only one brown ribbon, so that's a little bit of a disadvantage. Now, this is a verse-by-verse Bible, and that means that each verse is set off from the other verses. This is an alternative to a more paragraph style formatted Bible. And there are pros and cons of each one. The paragraph formatting tries to retain how it would feel to read the text, and you will find that there are two choices there. Either they try and maintain it as close as they can to the original language, or they will try and do it in the most natural way, English. So you'll find that the divides of paragraphs aren't necessarily the same depending on the translation. Verse by verse, you don't have any of that debate or issue. Each verse is separated out by the verse. Now the problem with that is it's not natural to the language. We don't set each sentence off on its own. The advantage is for something like preaching, then you do have, it makes it easier to find where you should start reading. You're not looking in the middle of a paragraph, where does that text start? So there are pros and cons to each one. Verse by verse generally is preferred by preachers because it makes it easy to get to a verse. It's also great for sharing a quick verse with people as well. Now, a feature which doesn't make it so good for preachers is that this is dual column. And so that makes the line smaller, and also if you look here, the font is a 9-point font. That means that it's a bit smaller than you might want when reading on a pulpit. It's not so easy to read through. It's not as legible for reading as perhaps a single column with a slightly larger font size. The advantage, of course, is that this means that it's a bit smaller, and also you can jump around a lot quicker, so that can be a good thing for some preachers. Now, the other aspect that is part of this Bible's name is the cross-references. And as you can see, there are quite a few that are in this section here. And there's a lot of attention paid to the cross-reference system in this particular Bible. And in fact, at the start, they have a whole detailed explanation and explain the differences between some of these different types of cross-references that they're doing. So there are direct references, there are indirect references, there's notes between, like if it's the original Greek, there are notes about different possible translations that could be drawn for each section. So that's a really good aspect of this Bible. You do get a lot of cross-references. They claim it's like the most comprehensive cross-reference. Of course they would. It's probably not as comprehensive as something like the NET or a study Bible, but you do get a lot of cross-references here, and it's not as distracting as something like a study Bible with the blocked out chunks of text. Now, another aspect of this Bible which ties in with cross-references is the concordance that we have here. And this is a really comprehensive concordance. We have the names of people, we have different themes, we have different words that are repeated and common in this Bible and translation. And that makes it useful for if you're interested in checking up a theme, if you want to study a theme, you can look through the concordance at the back and then go to those verses and see what they have there. And of course, because you cannot have a Bible like this without a good set of maps at the back. Now, these are matte maps, slightly thicker paper, which is okay, I guess. And we go through, we've got like the world of the patriarchs, Exodus, 12 tribes, Israel, and then Paul's Jesus, time of Jesus, and then we've got Paul's missionary journeys. So, common set of maps is quite nice there. Last feature that is worth drawing attention to is that, of course, this one does not have red letters. Now, if you're a fan of red letters, I guess that's a really bad thing. For me, it's pro-con. So I don't have red letters here. I'm not too worried. Now, conclusion. For me, this was not the right type of Bible. This was not what I was hoping to get, really. It's not perfect for use as a preaching Bible. The font is not as big as I would like. It's dual column, not single column. But, there are good sides of it. Verse by verse, which is quite nice. Also, the concordances are very nice. Who is this Bible right for? Well, I think this has a great purpose for daily study times. There aren't that many distractions as you might get with a study Bible. You can come at it with your own fresh perspective, fresh eyes, and you aren't being led so much by the notes that are around it, but you still do have these cross-references which allow you to look up what verses it's referring to, what themes are there, what alternative translations. So it gives you a bit of information without being overwhelming in information. And of course, you can check the maps if you're wondering, where is this in the world? Where is he at this time? But certainly, I don't think this really does a great job as a preacher's Bible. I guess another use for it could be very good for when you're in like home group, something like that. Perhaps you've read in a more paragraph style Bible beforehand, and then in the home group this allows you to quickly go between verses, but you have more time. You're not so dependent as you are when preaching. Hope you found that interesting, this quick look through the ESV verse by verse, and I'd love your comments below if you have one, if you find it good for something, or if you think there are some others that I should check out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.